This is Leroy from War of Ages, and I'm Keith Miller, and this is CI Records, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We're having an interview here today with Leroy, just to see where he's at in life and what's going on tour. So, how's the tour going?
Tour's going great. Where I'm at in life, I have a baby.
Nice, congratulations.
That's where I'm at. 3 months and 3 weeks as of, what is today, Saturday?
Yes.
Okay, almost 3 weeks. So 3 months and 3 weeks, almost. Tuesday would be 3 weeks. So, yeah, it's still fresh. Yes, I was able to be there for the birth. I wasn't sure at first if that was going to happen, which I pretty much made that happen, you know, because being the first and, you know, any kid, any one of our babies, I would want to be there. Because that process is pretty intense. I don't know if you know that.
Yes.
But, yeah, so we already talked about, you do know that. But, yeah, I was able to be there, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, that connection between father and her, it happens almost immediately with your wife, and because they have that connection, it's growing inside of her. But then once you see it for the first time, it's like that's when the husband's connection really, like, it's just like boom, it happens, and then it's like, I will kill everyone that comes near this. So, exactly. So I've already got the what is it, Dads Against Daughters Dating shirt coming in the mail. You know, shoot the first one in the word will spread. Yeah, I already got that coming. So I'm pretty excited. I don't know if you know.
Yeah. Well, being on tour, like, how often do you get to go on tour, and how often do you get to be at home, be there part of your family time with your wife and kids?
Well, we've been on tour a lot lately. New record came out, Return to Life, and always when a new record comes out, starts a new cycle, and then a lot of touring, a lot of support, a lot of headliner like we're doing right now, and looking for stuff overseas and whatnot. So a lot of it's really busy, but thankfully it hasn't been constant. It's been like, okay, here's a tour, and then you have a month off, and then here's another tour, and then, you know, so things have been spread out, which doesn't always happen, but it seemed to just fall into place, and I think it's just meant to be. Like, we've been blessed in that area where I've had a ton of time with her, and it hasn't become an issue yet with me personally and my wife, because I've had all that time to spend with her and the both of them. So I've got to see, like, mostly everything.
Yeah.
And hopefully that continues, because I know that if I wasn't able to be there a lot, it would be hard on me.
Right.
I don't think I could do it.
Right.
You know, so the fact that everything's working out and spreading out the way that it is, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I got to hear a little bit of some of your testimony about. Sounds like not so much like the most positive father figure probably in your life. How's that going to play a role in how you're going to father your child and how you're going to be a husband to your wife? You know, and did you have a positive father figure in your life to go off of?
I mean, there's, as far as like looking for a positive father figure, I mean, the Bible is filled with them.
Right.
You know, and that's one thing I was told when I was young, is that, I mean, a lot of people, my dad had a lot of issues, and they always says, don't worry, you can gather, you know, you'll find your mentors and whatnot. I've had strong people in my life to where, like my uncle, he's a strong person, and my wife's, the guy who married my wife and I actually met him through my wife, and I mean, I've had a connection with him, and he's an awesome guy, has a lot of the same, like, theologies and whatnot that I do. And so I found him, God's put him in my life, and I've learned from that. But the one thing that my dad has taught me is, and my dad's, he has a lot of issues, but he you know, he beats to his own drum, you know. So I've learned what not to do, you know, with that relationship with my father, and as far as with marriage and with your kids and stuff. And, you know, and I've also watched through his situations. I've seen that, like, there's a lot of battling that he's doing now because of those decisions he made when he was younger. Now he's got to fight this whole, like, you know, I've got 4 kids that really don't care for me very much, and I've had to watch that. So I've learned that I have to be a very predominant part of my, you know, kid's life and with my wife, and I have to, like, be focused and a good leader, you know, because I don't want 30, 40 years from now, I look back and I think what I did and how I, you know, ran my life and what I did for it, and I look back and I'm like, man, this is, you know, not the person that I wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know, so with that, I always have that hanging over my head as far as decision making and what's the right thing to do here. I want to look back, and as far as success, some people was like, well, you have tattoos. How successful do you think you're going to be? And I'm like, well, what do you measure your success by?
Right.
If you measure it by how much money I make and what car I'm driving, then no, I'd never plan on, driving around in a BMW or whatever. But if you measure that success by looking at your child and your wife and how successful you were in their lives and how successful they are as people and as strong women and men of God, and then I would look at that as being pretty dang successful, so that's what I measure my success by.
Sure.
So if that, doesn't matter how many tattoos I have, that was just me in this certain situation explaining this to this one person, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, when you're on tour, like, you have these people that positive influence. How do you get in contact with them? Like do you get to have mentorship while you're on tour? Like, how long are your periods of touring? Like a month or 2 months?
Well, with these people that have mentored me personally, it's like, it's one of those, you ever had a friend where you don't talk to him for a while, but then you talk to him, it's like nothing's changed?
Yeah.
You have like those certain, that's what these people are. It's like, I'm busy, I'm very busy, and so are, like, our whole band is, we're all busy guys. But at the same time, it's like, when you talk to these people and you need something and they need something, you can communicate, and it's just like picking up like it was yesterday, And so that's what it's kind of turned into, because life happens, as you get older, it seems like, you think it's going to slow down, but it doesn't. It just gets faster and faster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't really feel like it's weighing at all, but if I needed them or I needed someone to talk to, just pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. I guess get into the music sense here. Being in a hardcore Christian, genre of music, being labeled, Christian, does that play a role? Like, how does that differ from the secular hardcore and the metal hardcore? Like, and is the church accepting of it? And if not, like, how can we change that?
I mean, there's churches that do, there's churches that don't, there's, all different types of theologies, there's all different types of beliefs and what you should and shouldn't do, and, it's just, that's what Christianity is. It's just a bunch of, different ideas and symbols and, that people grab onto or they don't, and I don't think there's necessarily a right and wrong way to do it. I think there's an opinion.
Yeah.
And as far as us, I can think in one breath, I'm like, man, why did we ever label ourselves as a Christian band? Because we probably could reach so many more people if we just wouldn't have done that. But then I think, but then again, the fact that we have, it gives us a standard, to follow and a foundation to give us. So it's like, it's a constant battle of like how we should have started our band. But at the end of the day, War of Ages started the band, 10 years ago as saying we were a Christian band.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's what we decided to do at that point in time. So now, having that as our foundation, what we do with it is our responsibility. And I think that the way that we've kind of done our thing, we've toured with mainly secular bands and become really good friends with them. We've never been real pushy with who we are and what we believe, but we've always been strong foundation with what we are. People tour with us and they know. They know what we believe and why we believe it and whatnot, and it's our responsibility to show them that, why we do that by our actions. So we've always been an action band.
Yeah.
Though some people would, beg to differ as far as like what we've done and how we've done. But that's that opinion thing. I know that there was a festival that, that wasn't going to invite us back, and a friend of ours went to battle for us, went to bat for us, but they weren't going to because of a T-shirt we wore on stage. And I mean, and that's no way, I'm not saying that they were wrong for thinking that way. That's what they thought, that's how they felt, that's their opinion, that's what, And my thing about that whole situation was, I was like, at the end of the day, we don't want to play for someone who doesn't want us to play. We want to be wanted, and then therefore that's, maybe God is pulling us away from that. And if they want us to play, then awesome, then that's just meant to be. But if not, that's okay too. And so it's just, there's such a balance of opinion and finding out where you fit as a band and whatnot, and I don't believe that there is a right and wrong way to do it. And as far as like churches, I would say in the last 5 years there's been this upward swing of churches kind of getting it and understanding. I mean, because of your bands like Sleeping Giant and Face Down Records putting out the bands that they have, and Solid State always being there and putting out their bands and stuff like. back when I was growing up, we had Zayo, Disciple, Shockwave, NIV, and Strong Arm. There's like maybe 10 Christian bands in the entire country. You know, now there's 10,000.
Yeah.
So I think that churches are kind of understanding a little bit more, and with that whole upswing of bands, there's theologies and ideas and what you shouldn't say and what you should do, and you know, I always focus on that. I can't remember what the verse is off the top of my head, but it's focusing on the what is seen, or focus not on what is seen, because what is unseen is eternal. So I always focus on that, and I always sit there and think, hey, beat to your own drum, do what you got to do, and then we're gonna do what we got to do, because at the end of the day, we all focus on eternal God. So,
yeah, I mean, you think, like, I mean, we have a mass amount, you're saying now, of like Christian labeled bands. Is it just a label to some, do you think, or is there
absolutely? I think that there's you know, like I said, different theologies, and some people get caught up. You know, some people get caught up in being too religious, or they get caught up in being, it's not religion, it's a relationship. And then there's other bands that go, well, we're a Christian band, but we don't want to be like, you know, too Christian, so we want to kind of play it like. There's so many different types and so many different. At the end of the day, it's your heart. I don't care what you do and what you say and what T-shirt you wear and what you. To me, it doesn't matter. It's your heart. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're going to be judged for. That's what's going to be the content of your heart is what's going to be the focus when you're standing before God in judgment. That's the focus. So you can gear and roll and out your band however you want to roll it, and then you know you're going to be held accountable for every soul, every single issue, your heart. So
I mean, I see it. I mean, I hear of stories people coming to Christ at shows, and to me that's advancing the kingdom and meeting people where they're at in their life. So I look at it as an opportunity, and I can't really say that it's a bad thing.
No, I mean it's great, and and I think a lot of bands sometimes they focus on how many people they save at a show. When it says that I will add to the to the numbers, and not us, but God, He will add to the church. And so I think that if everybody just kind of does their thing and figures out what they want and what they want to get out of life, as long as they keep that heart pure and they mean well and they're trying to do the best they can at what they feel God is calling them to do, awesome. But as soon as they start getting their head, it starts to affect your judgment. So,
where do you see War of Ages like in 5 years? What do you you have goals like what music you want to put out, or?
We always take every album as it comes. I mean, we're trying to I mean, we have our War of Ages sound that we like, and we don't think we're breaking any new ground by any means. But at the same time, we know we're solid at what we do. We should, after 5, 6 albums, we should be somewhat solid at what we do. However, we're always trying to add something to it, and on the latest album, we did a lot of new stuff vocally, whereas we kind of took Eternal, the song Eternal with Sonny from POD, and then a couple of the other rhythmic stuff that we did, and we took that into Return to Life and did a lot more rhythmic vocals and a lot more rap-ish scream type stuff and melody screams. And so we're always trying to push the envelope and do different stuff, added more singing and whatnot. But really, at the end of the day, we're just trying to create an album that we like. And as far as a 5-year plan, that would be sweet, but this is the music industry. Who knows what the music scene is going to be in 5 years anyway? So we're just going to take it one tour at a time, one album at a time, and if we have the opportunity to write another album, we will. Whether we tour and whether life's coming, we just take it one day at a time. There's no 5-year setup plan. It's just in 5 years we'll look back and go, that's what I meant to do. That's totally what I meant to do. So.
I don't know of any solo projects or any acoustic sets. A lot of bands are reaching out into there.
I've noticed that. A lot of people kind of going off. There's going to be no Leroy Hamp bands. Leroy Hamp and the Funky Bunch or whatever. No, probably not. No. If I was that talented, that would be sweet. But I don't think anybody wants to hear me playing my acoustic guitar and screaming. So, although that would be new.
It would be new.
Maybe that would hit. There we go. There's something new.
Is there something like, what's your favorite part of touring?